Now, in any form of sports, there's 1 year of a sports competitor that stands out amongst anything they ever did, and stands out as the best year of that competitor ever. For anybody, they will have that 1 year where they are the best in their field and no one can battle them. For examples in basketball, you look at Michael Jordan in 1992 to 93. You look at LeBron James in 2017 and 2018. You look at Stephen Curry 2015 to 2016, and so on and so forth. However, in the field of professional wrestling, the first year that was like this was Ric Flair in 1989. That year really set the benchmark of a wrestler's year, what they have to do to be the best in the world in that year. And you have years like Big Van Vader in 1990. You have years like Steve Austin in 1990. You have years like Triple H in 2000. You have years like Samoa Joe in 2005. You have years like Kazuchika Okada in 2017. Kenny Omega in 2021. Even this year in 2022, Will Ospreay, he has had the best year of anybody. However, that is not the focus of this video. This video is focused on 2018 and the man who I feel had the best year in 2018, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, to begin Hiroshi Tanahashi's year off, his first match was at the trademark New Japan Pro Wrestling event, the January 4th Tokyo Dome show, Wrestle Kingdom 12, and his opponent, where he defended the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, was the newly returned Switchblade, Jay White. And this match was a lesser match for Tanahashi, at least in this year. However, it was still a good enough match. This match feels like the story of 2 years, of 2 matches. Because the first bit of this match was where Tanahashi was getting worked over by Jay White like none other. Jay White, whilst he might not have the mileage Tanahashi has, Tanahashi is 16 years the senior Jay White is. However, one thing that Jay White has over Tanahashi is the speed and physical. His body is not as torn up as Tanahashi. Meaning, throughout the match, Jay White begins what is a constant focal point of Tanahashi's year. That is attacking the knees. He begins that focal point of Tanahashi's year, constantly attacking the knees throughout this match. And throughout the match, Tanahashi also begins to improvise on this because he realizes and notices what Jay White's game plan is. So now he's beginning to attack Jay White's knees. In a case of, okay, now you want to attack my knee, I'm going to go after yours. And this is what Tanahashi begins to work over. However, then after that, Jay White notices that Tanahashi's taking too much time to react to moves. So now Jay White's beginning to punish Tanahashi for taking too long in moves. For example, when Jay White slaps Tanahashi, Tanahashi tried, after taking about 5 seconds to react, he tried to go for a little clothesline. Jay White ducks under and hits a deadlift German suplex that drops Tanahashi on his neck. And when Jay White's in the corner, He slaps Tanahashi. Tanahashi takes too long to react. However, Jay White then hits a suplex into the corner, dropping him on his neck again. However, after this, Tanahashi slowly beginning to take control after he finds an opening to Jay White's gameplay. And now Tanahashi, he knows that the end is coming up. Multiple sling blades later, and Tanahashi climbs to the top rope. And Tanahashi, it's multiple high fly flows. A second high fly flow he hit to the back of a standing Jay White. And Tanahashi dived up, hit a third high fly flow, and he retains the Intercontinental Championship against Jay White. Now this match is a not bad but not extremely good match. This match isn't bad in any sense of the way. As we look in hindsight, it is 2022. The match is not bad at all. However, there was a lot here left to be desired for. And whilst it was a good return for Jay White, yet again, they've had better matches. And they had better matches throughout the year. And this left a lot to be desired. However, my rating personally is a 3.5 star rating. Now the next night at New Year's Dash, Hiroshi Tanahashi's sights. Well, Hiroshi Tanahashi was set in the sight of Minoru Suzuki, as Suzuki decided to attack Tanahashi's knees to the point where Tanahashi had to get carried backstage. In this setup, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Minoru Suzuki on the first night of the New Beginning in Sapporo on January 27th, 2018. And this match is a brilliant showcase of how Hiroshi Tanahashi and Minoru Suzuki will go down as one of the greatest rivalries of all time. Throughout the Road to New Beginning tour, anytime these men have been in the ring, even after the match, Minoru Suzuki only tries to go after Tanahashi's knees. That's what Suzuki does throughout this match as well. Throughout the first about 10 minutes of this match, it's strictly mat wrestling. And Tanahashi isn't going to win that against an amateur MMA fighter and a legit wrestler, I believe, in Minoru Suzuki. And Suzuki, afterwards, he begins slowly to attack the knees after a while. He begins to go after the knees of Hiroshi Tanahashi. And throughout the first 10 minutes of this match, Tanahashi can't buy a move to save his life. Anytime Tanahashi tries to get in big offense, Minoru Suzuki immediately shuts it down. And the first real big offense that he gets in, it's about 10 to 15 minutes into a match. However, towards the 15 to 25 minutes in the match, Tanahashi's getting in more and more offense. However, the beginning 10 minutes, that's taking a toll on him. Suzuki continues to go on the attack. He continues to go after the knees. He continues to go after anything Tanahashi tries, because Minoru Suzuki is livid at this point. After he had to cut his hair by losing to Hiroki Goto at Wrestle Kingdom 12. And the ending of this match is one of the best endings to a match I've seen. Where Minoru Suzuki, he has Tanahashi at a knee bar. Tanahashi gets to the ropes and he gets up and starts to fight a bit. And he runs off the rope. Suzuki ducks under a clothesline, locks in a sleeper, immediately goes to the Gotch style pile driver. He hits it, however, then he immediately goes into a knee bar. And he has the knee bar cinched in to the point where there is nothing that Tanahashi can really do to get out. And it's so badly to the point where the referee calls a match and awards Minoru Suzuki the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. In this match, like I said, this is a brilliant showcase of why Tanahashi and Suzuki will always be one of the best rivalries of all time. And this also adds it adds the first real layer to Tanahashi's year. And it really gives something for Tanahashi to work over. This gives Tanahashi something to really be able to put on throughout the year because of this one performance. Now, my personal rating for this match is a 4.5 star rating. This match was absolutely brilliant. Now, after this, Tanahashi, he takes about a month off, and then afterwards, Hiroshi Tanahashi, he is in the New Japan Cup. And throughout the New Japan Cup, Tanahashi gets through Taichi, Bad Luck Fale, and Juice Robinson to make it to the finals. And in the finals, Hiroshi Tanahashi meets an unlikely opponent, Zack Sabre Jr. And this is a brilliant New Japan Cup finals. Now, like Jay White, Zack Sabre Jr. he is firmly behind Tanahashi. However, Zack Sabre Jr. does what Jay White couldn't. And Zack Sabre Jr. plays the same game that Jay White played, going after a certain body part of Tanahashi's. In this case, Zack Sabre Jr. relentlessly targets the torn bicep. However, what Zack Sabre Jr. does, he attacks it with a malice intent. He attacks it with malicious intent to the point where it's like, this is a blood feud. Every time Tanahashi attempts to get an upper hand, Zack Sabre Jr., boom, he attacks Tanahashi's torn bicep. Sends Tanahashi immediately back to square one. Tanahashi finally gets his first big offense in about 10 minutes into the match with a dragon screw. And this gives Tanahashi something to work over after Zack Sabre Jr. Jay goes after Tanahashi's arm, and Tanahashi goes after ZSJ's leg. And this is really what they begin to do for about the next 10 minutes, going 20 minutes into the match. However, about in a 20-minute period, Tanahashi goes to do the high fly flow to the outside. And what he does is he hits his knee. He hits his knee, and this is a knee that Suzuki attacked. And now this gives Zack Sabre Jr. something else to work over. To the point where Zack Sabre Jr. is also, now he has two things over Tanahashi. He has not only the torn bicep, but he also has his knee. And this is shown where Zack Sabre Jr., he's also not just trying to immediately go after Tanahashi. Zack Sabre Jr. is taking his time. He's biding his time. For example, when Tanahashi sent over the top rope, Tanahashi tries to skin the cat. Zack Sabre Jr. waits. And Tanahashi, he fully skins the cat. However, Zack Sabre Jr. immediately yanks him into the ring. And he locks in a knee bar. And this is what Zack Sabre Jr. does better than anybody else. Now, towards the end of the match, Zack Sabre Jr., he knows Tanahashi thinks that he's either going to attack the bicep or the knee. So Zack Sabre Jr., he goes into a surprisingly amazing European clutch, which gets one of the biggest near falls that I've ever seen. And towards the end, Tanahashi, he tries a high fly flow, however, it is reversed, and Zack Sabre Jr. moves out the way. And Tanahashi tries his own roll-up with Zack Sabre Jr. ESJ kicks out and immediately goes into a sleeper hold. However, as Tanahashi's trying to get out of that, Zack Sabre Jr. goes and gets the knees caught. And he goes into the orienteering and the palm death. And Tanahashi, he can't do it, and he taps out. And Zack Sabre Jr. has won the New Japan Cup. Now this match is, on paper it sounds a bit boring, with the amount of time it ran, with the 35-minute runtime. However, it's packed with not only a bunch of technical ability, but it's also packed with brilliant wrestling, brilliant mat work by Zack Sabre Jr., limb work by ZSJ and Tanahashi, and a really good finish as well. My personal rating for this match is a 4.5 star rating. Now, at Sakura Genesis 2018, Kazuchika Okada defends the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Zack Sabre Jr. And in this match, Zack Sabre Jr. comes up short against Okada, meaning officially Kazuchika Okada has tied the IWGP Heavyweight Championship defense record. And after the match, as Okada is giving the fans their send-off, Hiroshi Tanahashi interrupts Okada. Now, 5 years earlier, at New Japan Pro Wrestling's, I believe it was New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction in 2013, Tanahashi had challenged Okada to an IWGP Heavyweight Championship match at King of Pro Wrestling 2013, in which if Tanahashi lost, he would never challenge Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship again. And Tanahashi losing that match meant, for 5 years, other than Tanahashi winning the G1 Climax, he did not challenge Okada for the heavyweight title. However, here Tanahashi challenges Okada for the heavyweight championship. And he breaks the promise that he made. And he only broke it because if Okada is going to break Tanahashi's defense record, Tanahashi wants Okada to break it against him. Tanahashi wants himself to be the last barrier between the defense record being broken. Thus, Hiroshi Tanahashi vs. Kazuchika Okada is officially signed to happen on May 4th, 2018 at New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestling Dontaku Night 2. And this match, the story of this match is also a really good story. Tanahashi, he knows that he has a lot more mileage on him. He's older. He's not as athletic as he was. And he builds off of that in this match as well, because Tanahashi knows that one Rainmaker and it's going to be over for him. Tanahashi knows as well the only thing he has left with the heavyweight title is the defense record. He already has the most days he's held the title. That already has the second most. He already has the most reigns as champion. He already has all of that. However, Okada's about to break the one thing Tanahashi had for a one reign and done. And Tanahashi, he wants his history to be preserved with that. He knows one Rainmaker and it's over. However, Tanahashi does everything to make sure it doesn't happen. He does multiple Rainmaker reversals into dragon suplexes and into his own Rainmakers and Sling Blade reversals. Else he also tries hitting his own. He tries hitting whatever he can to make sure Okada stays down. However, Okada's younger, and that's the story of Tanahashi's year as well. He's facing younger guys, and here Tanahashi, after he does his top rope high fly float to the outside, he waits too long and waits for Okada to get up before going for a running move. And Okada catches Tanahashi before hitting a tombstone onto the outside, right onto the floor. And in this match, Okada is obviously working as Okada's working as the bad guy in this match, the heel. And it's known to the fans. However, Okada gets it so over to the point where you don't realize it for a while. And Tanahashi's sympathy that he can get, it brings this match above and beyond. Now, Okada, he has the youth, however, he knows as well what Tanahashi can do in the ring. He knows exactly what Tanahashi can do. And he also begins to plan for that as well. And at the end of the match, Tanahashi, he would go to try and hit what it seemed a sling blade. However, Okada grabbed the tights, yanked Tanahashi back, and hit one Rainmaker. And he won the match. And just like that, Tanahashi, the one thing that he had for a singular IWGP Heavyweight Championship reign is gone. The one thing he had. The defense record was the one thing Tanahashi had for a single reign. Now that's been broken. Now this match, of all the Okada Tanahashi matches in 2018, which I will get into, this match I feel is the worst of the three. That does not mean it was not a good match, however. It was a really good match. However, I personally feel that this match in particular was the worst of the three. And for that, my rating for this match is 4 stars straight up. Now after this, Tanahashi doesn't really do much from May to June. For May, June, going into mid-July, Tanahashi doesn't do much. At Dominion, he's in a 6-man tag with Rey Mysterio, in which his team loses. And from after that, from what it seemed, he went into a mini feud with Marty Scurll, which Marty Scurll was constantly trying to get a one-on-one match with Tanahashi. However, whilst this all was going on, the G1 Climax 28 competitors and blocks were announced. And Hiroshi Tanahashi would be competing in the G1 Climax. He would be an A block, meaning he would have matches against people like Jay White, Evil, the man who injured him back in January, Minoru Suzuki. And on the final night, Hiroshi Tanahashi would face Kazuchika Okada. Now, going into the final night of G1 Climax 28, Hiroshi Tanahashi would embark on one of the greatest block runs in G1 Climax history. He would only drop one match against Switchblade Jay White on the second day of A block action. And going into the final night, Hiroshi Tanahashi would walk in with a record of 7 wins and 1 loss. And he would face Kazuchika Okada, will walk into with a record of 6 wins and 2 losses. Now, as a third party, Jay White would also walk into the night with 6 wins and 2 losses. However, due to an earlier loss to Evil, Jay White would be eliminated from G1 Climax block winning contention, meaning a winner of Okada and Tanahashi would win A block. Should it go to a draw, Hiroshi Tanahashi wins the block. In this match, it emphasizes the point of they only have 30 minutes. Hiroshi Tanahashi, he does know he's older than Okada, and it also plays into Wrestling Dontaku. However, Tanahashi now has something on his side as well. As opposed to Wrestling Dontaku, where they had a 60-minute time limit, G1 block matches only have 30 minutes. All Tanahashi has to do is survive 30 minutes with Okada, and he wins the block and goes to the finals. Tanahashi uses the strategies that was really brought into play at Wrestling Dontaku here as well. He goes with the Rainmaker reversals of the Sling Blades and the Dragon Screws, and however, Okada, he also is learning from Tanahashi's adapting to everything that Okada has done. And Okada begins to adapt as well. Okada, he firmly goes after the leg in this match, as this is during the Summer of Fun phase Okada had been through. Okada firmly goes after the leg throughout a lot of the match. And that's really Okada's focal point. He knows that if he can do the same strategies Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. did, Okada is fine and he's got the A block in his grasp. However, towards the end, you can see them somewhat ramp it up and begin to go even more back and forth at it, with a lot of the New Japan trademark big match things in it. The big match reversals, the big signature move into a double down. However, no time can be wasted here, because all they have is 30 minutes. 30 minutes expire, and that means Hiroshi Tanahashi moves on, and Okada knows this after a while. Meaning, Okada has to put Tanahashi away. However, Okada goes for one last Rainmaker with about a minute or 30 seconds left, and Tanahashi reverses it into a sling blade. And then Tanahashi goes for the high fly flow. He hits it, however, Okada kicks out. And Tanahashi's trying to scale back up to the top rope as fast as he can, but the timer expires. Both men went to a 30-minute time limit draw. And with this draw, the ring announcer exclaims that with the draw, Hiroshi Tanahashi has moved on to the A block winner, and he will go on to the G1 Climax Finals. Now, this match was a really good match as well. I'd say this one meets right into the middle, and the third match I will get into shortly. However, this match meets right in the middle, and it was a good match. I'd say it was paced evenly well, and it met everything that they have done, whilst they also introduced new layers to it. This match was an amazingly done match, and this was a beautiful match as well. Now, my rating for this match is 4.25 in my personal opinion. This match, I feel, is a 4.25 stars match. Now, with this win, Tanahashi would go on and he would go to face the winner of the B block of G1 Climax, Kota Ibushi. And this match, I feel, in my personal opinion, is the best G1 Climax final of all time. With the story that they put into this match, with all of the thought they put into this match, with everything and then some, this is a beautiful masterpiece of a wrestling match. This match was amazing. From the 20-minute mark on, this match was absolutely amazing. Because from the 20-minute mark on, when they begin doing the Tanahashi high fly flow to the outside, then the Kota Ibushi moonsault to the outside. From that point on, this match begins to kick into the next gear. And when Ibushi tries to go into that phase of Ibushi where he blacks out, and then Tanahashi, he gets up and they go into a slapping fight, this match immediately begins to kick into the next gear of an amazing wrestling match. Tanahashi, and both men's stories as well into this match is amazing. Ibushi's winning of G1 here, this gets him the Tokyo Dome, where he finally gets a 60-minute match. 60 minutes, one fall. with his best friend, IWGP Heavyweight Champion at the time, Kenny Omega. Tanahashi needs to win this to prove that he still has it and that he is still one of the best in the world and still the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, even at 41 years old. Now here, they also play off of past things as well with Dakota Ibushi deadlift German into the ring and Ibushi going for the Kamagoye, trying to defeat who he believes, in his personal opinion, is his god, trying to defeat his god in Hiroshi Tanahashi. However, Tanahashi, he shows that Ibushi isn't at that level yet, and he immediately reverses and hits a Snapdragon suplex, and Ibushi is dumped on his neck. Tanahashi then goes to the top and hits about 3 high fly flows Dakota Ibushi, and Tanahashi has won the G1 Climax for the 3rd time in his career. Now, yet again, I personally feel this is the best G1 Climax match final of all time. There's nothing that really tops it, in my opinion. And this is just an absolutely beautiful match. My personal rating is a 5+ star rating. Now, after this, Hiroshi Tanahashi would be at the G1 Climax Winners press conference, where they not only get awarded the contract for the Tokyo Dome January 4th next year, but they also name their first challenger for the G1 Climax briefcase. Hiroshi Tanahashi gives Kazuchika Okada the shot at challenging for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship right to challenge at the Tokyo Dome. And Tanahashi only does this because he says he does not want to go to the Tokyo Dome if he cannot beat Kazuchika Okada. And then their match is signed for Destruction in Kobe, September 2018. And this is the best match of 2018. This is the best match of 2018. Beginning 5 to 10 minutes, see them going at it in a normal Okada-Tanahashi opening. However, Tanahashi, he goes for a dive to the outside of the ring. And whilst it takes out Okada, Tanahashi, he accidentally hurts his knee here. And he hurts his knee badly, because afterwards, Okada gets in and he's recovering from the dive to the outside. However, he knows that, okay, now Tanahashi's knee, I can go after that. And he begins to attack it with everything he has. Okada relentlessly attacks Tanahashi's knee. And even when Okada does his top rope drop kick that sends his opponent to the outside, beforehand he kicks Tanahashi's leg, then does the drop kick, and Tanahashi's knee gets caught in the top rope. It gets wedged between the top rope. And Okada, being the douchebag that he is in this match, he begins to go and hit the knee even more, to the point where the young lion has to climb up the apron and unwedge the knee of Tanahashi, just so that way Tanahashi can be able to at least get back in the match and not suffer any permanent big damage. Now, after this, Tanahashi's knee selling as well in this match, it is amazing, because I believe after this point, Okada, he tries an Irish whip of Tanahashi into the ropes, and Tanahashi just collapses because he can't run on his knee. And later on, when Tanahashi tries running on his knee, you can see a clear limp in the leg that's been attacked throughout the entirety of the match. You can see a clear limp in that leg. both men know that they're not going to be able to win off of what they've done in the past. They're not going to be able to win off of any normal. So, around the 20 minutes, 30 minute mark, you see multiple finisher reversals, you see multiple big moves, you see multiple counters of big moves. Tanahashi, even with his knee messed up, he still goes for broken, does the diving high fly flow to the outside on a standing Okada. And it injures Tanahashi's knee. But Tanahashi doesn't care. As long as he can win the match, that's his only real goal. And this match, everything they do, there's an easy purpose to this. And towards that 33, 34 minute mark, Tanahashi, he goes to the top rope to attempt a high fly flow. However, Okada goes up there as well. And Tanahashi and Okada are duking it out on the top rope. And Okada, he's getting the upper hand and he's trying for a tombstone off of the top rope onto the ring mat, which Tanahashi, he knows that would be it. Tanahashi would be done for there. However, Tanahashi, he continues to fight on. And he fights on to the point where Okada, he knocks him off. However, Okada runs back up and they're continuing the battle on the top rope. However, Tanahashi begins to get the upper hand and he climbs all the way to the top rope. Also, Okada's standing on the middle rope. And he slaps Okada, which knocks him off. And as Okada is falling to the ground, Tanahashi hits the high fly flow. He goes back up. It's a standing high fly flow to Okada. And one last time, Tanahashi dives to the top rope. And he hits the high fly flow. And a 1, 2, 3. And Tanahashi wins. And for the first time since January 4th, 2015, over 1,300 days since the last time he beat Kazuchika Okada, Tanahashi beats Okada here. And this is, like I said at the beginning, the best match of 2018. There is nothing that tops this match. Nothing that tops this match in my opinion. Not Okada Omega, not Okada Naito. Nothing tops this match. This is easily Tanahashi and Okada's best match ever. In my opinion, it is a perfect wrestling match. My rating is a 5+ star rating. Now after the match, the beginning of the end of New Japan as we knew it, as Jay White and Gato would turn their backs on not only the fans but Chaos. They would sort of go unaffiliated from New Japan. And Jay White would make his intentions known that he is the next challenger for Hiroshi Tanahashi's right to challenge, which would then set up Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Jay White at King of Pro Wrestling, where the winner goes to the Tokyo Dome. In this match, the beginning of the match really sees Jay White and Gato sort of take in that new heel side because they were the most hated people in Japan. They were the most hated people in New Japan Pro Wrestling. In this match, Jay White begins to go back to the things he's done in the past. He goes back to the attacking of Tanahashi's knees, and that's what he really works through for majority of the match. However, Tanahashi, he's trying to fight that off, but instead of Jay White, because Tanahashi throughout the year, he's beginning to notice that anytime Tanahashi takes too long to respond to a move, his opponents reverse and hit him with something. So now Tanahashi's adapting to everything. He's adapting to what his opponents can do and what they will do. And now he's starting to take less time. He's starting to punish Jay White for taking too much time. However, he also has to worry about the fact that Gato is standing on the outside of the ring. And this is what really gets Tanahashi into trouble, because Tanahashi hits a high fly flow later on in the match. However, Red Shoes is counting 1, 2, and Gato pulls Red Shoes out. And you can see Gato, he has a pair of brass knuckles in his hand. And Gato goes to punch Tanahashi with the knuckles. Tanahashi, he hits Gato, however, and Jay White hits Tanahashi with a chair. Jay White now has a chair. However, Tanahashi, he gets the upper hand, and he's finally attacking Jay White off. He goes to try and hit a high fly flow on the Jay White, who's laying on a chair. However, Jay White moves out the way. Tanahashi just lands straight on the chair. And it's a feeling that now the match is over. And that Jay White will be the first man to ever win the right to challenge from his opponent here at King of Pro Wrestling 2018. However, Tanahashi hits a lucky roll-up and he retains the right to challenge at the Tokyo Dome. And this match, I'd say, it was better than their match they put on at Tokyo Dome. However, not by much. What somewhat nulled down the match was a Gato interference and then the whole chair saga. That somewhat nulled down the match for me. However, this was still a pretty good match, and it was a pretty good end to the big matches for Tanahashi here. My rating for this match is a 3.75 star. Now, in the main event of King of Pro Wrestling, Kenny Omega successfully defends the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match, also against Cody and Kota Ibushi. And as Kenny Omega is doing his farewell speech to the crowd, Hiroshi Tanahashi walks from backstage. And all Tanahashi really says is, at Kenny Omega, your time at Tokyo Dome, your time is up. And that's what he leaves it off at. And the stage is set for the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 13, January 4th, 2019. Hiroshi Tanahashi, the G1 Climax winner, to face off against the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Kenny Omega. And that is where Tanahashi's 2018 ends off. This was one of the best years for a wrestler that I've ever seen. The amount of big matches Tanahashi went through and the amount of big stories Tanahashi went through, all led through the same thing, was not only amazing in how New Japan executed it, but it was also really good in how Tanahashi sold everything, because the one thing he made sure that he always put on Front Street was the fact that his knees, he's not young anymore. People have been going after his knees for years and he can't take the abuse anymore. Tanahashi made sure that was at least a focal point in every single thing he did. And Tanahashi is one of the best big match performers of all time, no matter what era, what decade, what year, what company. Tanahashi is one of the best big match performers of all time. And this here showed exactly why Hiroshi Tanahashi is the ace.